In this video, you will learn how to solve equations using several transformations. When you solve equations, what we are doing is we are undoing the order of operations. So when we solve, we are working in reverse. So for example 1, we have 5 times n minus 8 equals 72. The objective is to get the variable by itself on one side. So what that means is that I need to get rid of the 5 and the negative 8 that are with the n. So to do that, I will do reverse order of operations. So I'm going to start with addition and subtraction first, and then work my way up from there. So here we see subtraction, and here we see 5 times n, which is multiplication. So to begin, I start with the subtraction. So to get rid of the minus 8, I do the opposite of subtracting 8, which would be adding 8. So I add 8 to both sides. The negative 8 plus 8 on the left side will cancel out. That gives me 0, so I have 5n plus 0, or 5n. On the right side, I have 72 plus 8, which would be 80. So now from here, I can get rid of the 5. This is 5 times n, so to get rid of the 5, I do the opposite of multiplying, which would be dividing. So I divide both sides by 5. On the left side, the 5's would cancel. I'm left with n on the left, and then 80 over 5, which is 16 on the right. Example 2, I have 1/2 x plus 4 equals 10. Once again, I'm going to go in reverse order of operations. So I see the 1/2 times x, and I see that being added with 4. So I begin with addition and subtraction first. So this plus 4, I get rid of that first by doing the opposite, which would be subtracting 4. So I subtract 4 here and here on both sides. So the 4 minus 4 would give me 0. That would cancel out. So I have 1/2 x on the left, and then 10 minus 4, which is 6, on the right. Now to get rid of the 1/2 with the x, this is 1/2 times x. So to do the opposite of multiplication, I need to divide. So I divide both sides by 1 over 2, which division is the same thing as multiplying by the reciprocal. So dividing by 1 over 2 is the same thing as multiplying by 2 over 1. So I multiply both sides by 2 over 1. When I do that, on the left side, the numbers 2 and 2 would cancel. I have 1 and 1. So I have 1x on the left side. On the right side, I have 2 times 6, which would equal 12. So my solution is going to be 12. And I can double check by plugging this number back in for x to see, is this a true statement? 1/2 times 12 is 6, and then 6 plus 4 would equal 10. Number 3, I have w minus 4 over 9 equals 3. So once again, I'm going to work in reverse order of operations. So I begin with addition and subtraction, and then multiply and divide, and then exponents, and then parentheses. With this one, be very careful, because we see the minus 4, and the temptation is going to be to do the opposite, or add 4 to both sides. However, don't forget that this fraction bar serves as a grouping mechanism. So that means that this entire numerator is one quantity. So I can think of that as being in parentheses. So that would mean that I don't do that until the end. So that means the 9 is what I'd work with first. And this is being divided by 9. So to get rid of the division, I do the opposite, which is multiplication. So I multiply both sides by 9. When I do that on the left side, the 9's will cancel out. I'm left with w minus 4 on the left, and on the right I have 3 times 9, which is 27. So to solve this from here, I get rid of the subtraction by doing the opposite of subtracting, which is adding. So I add 4 to both sides. On the left, the negative 4 plus 4 would cancel. That gives me 0. So I have w on the left, And on the right, I have 27 plus 4, which is 31. So my solution is 31. And I can double check by plugging this number back in for w into the original equation. I'd have 37 minus 4 over 9 equals 3. That would be, 31. 31 minus 4 is 27. 27 over 9 would be 3. So that would work, which means we do have the correct solution. Example 4. We have 34 equals 8a plus 9a. Now in this example, I need to simplify first before I start moving things around. So we notice the 8a and the 9a are like terms, which means that I can combine. So when I combine, I have 8a's plus 9 more a's, which means I have 17a's. So the right side I have 17a, left side is 34. So the 17 in front of the a means multiplication. So this is 17 times a. To get rid of multiplication, I do the opposite, which would be division. So I divide both sides by 17. On the right side, the 17's cancel out. That leaves me with 1a, or just a. And on the left side, I have 34 over 17, which would equal 2. So 2 equals a, or I could put a on the left side, so a would equal 2. Example 5. This one as well I need to simplify first before I start solving. To simplify, I need to distribute this 3 to both parts of the parentheses. So 3 times y would be 3y, plus 3 times 7 would give me 21. So I have 3y plus 21 minus 8 equals 16. I can simplify further because 21 minus 8 would be 13. So I have 3y plus 13 equals 16. Now I can start solving by doing the reverse order of operations. So I begin with addition and subtraction. We see here a plus 13. So to get rid of the 13, I do the opposite of adding, which is subtracting. So I subtract 13 from both sides. On the left side, 13 minus 13 would cancel, and that leaves me with 3y on the left, and then 16 minus 13 is 3 on the right. So now I have the 3 with the y that I need to get rid of. So this is 3 times y, and to get rid of the multiplication, I do the opposite, which would be division. So I divide both sides by 3. The 3's would cancel. I have y on the left, 3 over 3, which is 1 on the right. So y equals 1 would be my solution.